Today I decided to go and spend some time in Monster Hunter Wilds on PC to check out which of the graphic settings have the most effect on the visual fidelity in the game and also on performance, and try to find the best one that fits my need, and it can be a baseline for you as well. Keep in mind I was testing things on the 3070 Ti in Full HD with also, as you can see, upscaling. But basically when it comes to things that affect performance the most, you should look of course at the screen resolution, the uncapped frame rate, frame generation, the super resolution, the upscaling, texture quality, mesh quality, shadow quality. All these things that I mentioned are very important to control, and other things also have an effect, but these ones are very important to make sure that you choose the right ones, because as a baseline they're going to have the strongest effect on the performance of the game. Same goes to aliasing and also texture filtering quality. And if you see something that I chose high, basically I try to balance again visual quality and performance for my needs, and this is why. But again, you can of course make your own changes, but for me this works great, so I can improve performance and I was able to get really beautiful visual quality as well. Now I'm going to show you the results in a moment, but basically I wanted to share with you about again specific things that I considered. The first thing was actually the details, especially things related to the textures, the ground, and also the monsters that you are fighting. This was important for me. Although what's important sometimes doesn't mean that you need to put something on high to really enjoy good quality, something that you feel satisfied with. Things related to the fur, for example, and other things I try to reduce and increase to see, how much effect I actually get. Also didn't like seeing blocky things. It doesn't matter where it is, whether it's in the visual effects, whether it's in the fur or the grass. I try to minimize this effect as much as possible because it just ruined the immersion for me and just looks bad basically. I also tried it both at the, when it's low contrast and high contrast, kind of a day and night, see how everything looks, also with the particle effects and the visual effects. And of course the target was 60 FPS on my gear, but again, if you have lower specs or higher specs, of course you can increase or decrease accordingly. Now some things that I personally don't like I don't like blur, and bloom I have no problem with, but usually I disable the blur in the game, almost in any game that I play. But it can help of course also with motion sickness, and sometimes certain games maybe increase realism, but I usually disable it. Also make sure that I'm going to test it in when there are several monsters fighting. Actually look at that, just biting him, it was so funny. So several monsters fighting, and basically try to see when there are more 3D models on the screen rather than just one. So one thing to note is that I can run this game on ultra in smooth frame rate, 60 FPS and more, but I wanted to see from that point on, because I know I can run it, how much I can actually lower the different specs until I get something that I don't like. So this is good for me, because if I know the baseline for me, I can then from that point on go up in anything that I like. Alright, so basically that's it. I'm going to show you now the thing that I chosen for my setup. Again, I can go higher, but this is kind of the baseline for me. Alright, so you can see capped 60 FPS, full HD. Of course, if you're running high resolution, you need to take this into account. AMD FSR 3. The problem with AMD FSR based on the beta is that you have some ghosting. Although when I play, I rarely notice this, but I get extra performance because I have frame generation. If you of course have a 40 series graphics card, you're going to have frame generation. I don't with DLSS, and I get less performance out of DLSS, so I decided to go with AMD FSR 3, and I'm kind of satisfied with. Yes, you can pause anytime you like. Keep in mind one exception maybe here is the texture filtering, so you can reduce it as well, so keep this in mind. But other than that, I'm quite satisfied with other settings. Also bloom, if you don't like, you can reduce, but overall I'm very satisfied with the results that I've chosen here, with the visuals that I got. So yeah, so if you're targeting, for example, 2K or 4K, you want, of course, to play around. Again, the most important thing, of course, is the resolution. But if you already have resolution that you know you're going to play with, try to cap the frame rate. For example, use frame generation and play with the setting there. You can also increase, of course, the super sampling for extra performance or extra quality. If you need more performance, everything that you're going to change there will also affect, by the way, the visual quality as well, of course. But you can try to play with that because it's going to have significant impact on performance. Yeah, so basically this is my Ultra in quotation, right? It looks very similar to Ultra based on what I play, but again, much less impact on performance. So I can get even higher frame rates if you want. For example, if you have a display that you want to play at higher frame rates for higher response rate, this can be a good solution for you as well. Thanks for watching.